回来之后，他们整个战队现在就慢慢找回自己的状态，之前 RNG 的打法，然后现在 RNG 打得挺猛的，打团就保护 UGI， 然后把 UGI 一个人在后面打输出，所以我们打 RNG 的时候可能要注意这个点。
And that's exactly what he did in game number 2. Welcome back to the LPL for the match of the week extravaganza into game 3. This is Clement Chu, my name's Jake Asterix, Aussie Penko, and game 3 means one thing. You count your blessings, because it's rare that we get a match of the week that delivers. Actually, no, it's not this split, but we just get another one anyway, Clement.
The back and forth is what's really amazing because FPX has been so dominant throughout this stretch. They're undefeated in match series scores and averaging a 6,000 gold advantage at 30 minutes. This time around, back and forth fights. Nobody knows who's the winner until the very last moment. But like Doinb was talking about, it has become a game revolving around Uzi.
That's right.
RNG has found their footing. They're saying, you know what? Historically, Uzi has had a great time against LWX. That's all in onto that position. Get him the vein. And FPX's counter is, you know what? We're having a great time in the top side, so we're going to select picks that can actually counteract Uzi.
And like Uzi was counteracted just on that note. GimGoon was massive on Gangplank, even Doinb into the mid lane, because we set up the 2v2 so nicely because that's what FPX do.
Yep.
They set up their 2v2 perfectly. And in that game, it wasn't enough because you have yourself a composition of RNG that is very, very normal. And AmazingJ gets a second chance at Poppy, and that second chance nets him a big MVP.
The clear plays for me in this game were around the Infernal Drakes, where he found that catch onto Doinb, knew that he didn't have the flash, was willing to go flash E him on the wall, and make sure he died in that team fight. That was the big hurrah, the comeback play from RNG. Before that, on a gold deficit the entire time, and the second time around was the big Baron play, where he made it a 4v2 in the pit. Let's watch that again as it does go down. You look at GimGoon, he's standing there and thinking, what am I supposed to do in this situation? All of the carries are away from the pit, and it actually buys them enough time where the Baron isn't taken. They force FPX back into the situation, and Xiaohu is able to finish off the play.
Isn't it ironic, though, in this series, we looked at both top laners and we said if there's a weakness for FPX, it's with GimGoon, especially the way he plays in his laning phase. We looked at AmazingJ, we said the way he plays in his laning phase could be an issue. He's not let me yet. And both of the top laners are actually naming these games for both teams.
Yeah, I have to say, though, GimGoon has had the upper hand. No mistake, GimGoon on the upper hand, FPX on the red side. They found a very consistent point of advantage for the team. I'm still a little bit worried about AmazingJ. I feel like these picks specifically were situations where FPX did not read it correctly. They're so comfortable playing with the Poppy. In a lot of situations, RNG can find themselves using that Keeper's Verdict to create advantages other teams just don't think about.
Yeah, throughout this whole series, we've seen AmazingJ's Poppy. Throughout this whole series, just looking at the mental here from FPX, we have seen them in a very solemn state. Not to say that they're upset, but they've been like this from game number 1. Very calm, cool, collected, as well as just in a good state of mind against RNG. RNG have been laughing, cheering. Now it looks like the pressure's added that extra level because there's just this extra level of emotion as you're looking at Crisp here and thinking, all right, cool, what's going to be played in this third game and what's going to be prioritized as RNG enter the arena for the last time tonight.
Going through their own L'Oreal tunnel as well this time. For FPX, this is the moment of truth when you really discover what your legend has been based on so far, because you've been undefeated in your match scores. When it comes crashing down, there's that moment where you're doubting if this actually is reality, or have you been living in a dream, for instance. So I think these are the moments where we really see teams rise beyond what their previous selves could hold. This is the moment where you see, hey, can FPX actually transcend their other strategies? What else do they have in the gas tank now? Doinb and Tian have been shut down throughout this series. GimGoon has been doing great so far, but it hasn't been transitioning into clear-cut wins coming out from the top side. What else can we actually pull against RNG? Are we going to contest them in the team fight? Is it going to be a split-pushing game? What other options do we have?
Remember that in Game 3 against Invictus Gaming, and yes, that went the distance as well, that was our match of the week too. We saw the Game 3, the blind Gangplank. We also saw, I believe, the Rise came out in Game 3. We saw the unique picks that defined FPX. that brought them into the winning matchups, or rather the winning game against Invictus Gaming. Will we see that again? Because RNG have shown that their team fights, their compositions are built around that as always. They are the team fighting team in the LPL, and the chaos of FPX wants to ensue that first. Game 3, match of the week. What more could you want? Let's get into it, and already a couple of key collectives from the bands.
Exactly the same bands that we've seen throughout the entire series. FPX are going to go back to their, we're going to allow Zoe for RNG type of strategy. Make sure they don't have a strong team fighting front line. Okay. Make sure they can't use map control well. Now RNG, they're finally going back to the Alistar. Now this is Chris' turn to say, hey, do I actually have the counter to the Alistar? Do I have something like the Morgana or the Fiddlesticks to contend with it?
We'll see, because he's been opting towards some of the tankier supports. Brom is his secondary, and also the Tahm Kench is there too. But good to see that Ming's on the playmaking support for Game 3, whereas FPX are going back to the Game 1 style of bottom lane.
It's a little surprising for me, but RNG get a lot of the key things they're looking for right now. The jungle pool is wide open, so they can set up a 1-2 combo punch in that jungle and mid, or they could just go for something that Uzi wants to play. However, I don't think he has a good option in terms of the laning phase. As long as he gets a hyper carry, I think RNG are pretty happy. So I do expect the Lee Sin, great pick on Karsa, and for them to go for something that's more aggressive in the mid lane. Keep Doinb down again.
He hasn't been able to pick up this pick at all during this series. It has been towards second rotation, and red side first pick, as you know, after ban phase 2, is always going to be usually the jungle if it hasn't been picked up already. RNG snag that one away, and Xiaohu gets his Syndra too. So this is a precarious situation if you're in an FPX. You want to look for a counter in the mid lane, or you let that slip by.
The interesting thing here is that a lot of champions that Doinb runs are not afraid of the burst potential from Syndra. A lot of them can actually outlive the burst. Picks like Aatrox, for one, can definitely do it. And other things are like Renekton and Kled. You know, you push me in lane, it doesn't matter. I still have the roam potential.
Clement, this is a triple flex though. I'm just saying this now. You know, whether it goes up to GimGoon, Tian, maybe more likely Doinb or Tian, but still the potential for a triple flex. We still see Aatrox top, we see it in the jungle, and Doinb has played it mid.
Aatrox has been running up the standings in terms of the appearance rate. People are discovering it's pretty good in the jungle as well. As long as you have some crowd control in the lanes, it's fine. Now for FPX, I want to see what they ban out for AmazingJ. They feel like GimGoon has been the sole winning point along this entire series, so I expect them to put AmazingJ in kind of a difficult situation. They're opening up the Sion and the Urgot, which actually GimGoon has a lot of champions that can deal with well too. He has a lot of champions like the Fiora for one, the Ryze for one, the Kled he also plays. So he's a guy that actually does pack a lot of carry potential in that top side.
Yeah, very true. The Urgot was already banned away, so Sion the natural pick here from GimGoon, as AmazingJ loses both Yorick and Poppy in that banning phase. And even though you take away the Gragas from Tian, I think you still be happy with this on GimGoon. You still put, as you said just then, AmazingJ into a difficult position.
FPX, this is a very strong mid-game teamfight composition, but doesn't really have the elasticity in towards the late game. I actually suspect this Sion is going to go into the mid side, into the mid lane. Of course, they have a chance to look at the matchups before they select it in.
Who knows at this point, Clement, yeah.
Yeah, but with the way the series has been going, I think Doinb just wants to be risk-averse in the mid side.
That's very fair to be understated that RNG probably know that now as well. The Karsa locked in there for Uzi in the third and final game. You already got his Vayne, ladies and gentlemen. You can't be spoiled that much, but his Karsa just as good, as both AD carries sit on this as a core.
Here's the top lane. Now this is a difficult one because essentially AmazingJ is still playing against a potential counter pick. The Aatrox could go into the jungle, the Sion could be mid. Gangplank is actually one of AmazingJ's best champions. Historically speaking, he's been a more bruiser-centric player. He loves to get into team fights, but he's always had that one or two champions that kind of surprises you. You look at him, you go, this guy actually, a lot of times he's more for the tank style of champions, but then he pulls out the Camille and the Gangplank, and you're like, wow, this guy can actually play.
Yeah, that's right.
So AmazingJ, going back to some of his old tricks here.
But Tian is as well, Clement. That is at least locked in, which means, all right, Sion mid or Aatrox mid. I'm still not convinced here, but considering the matchups there, Clement, you know the answer.
I do prefer the Sion mid just to prevent how many looks that RNG has been throwing towards Doinb. Now, the interesting thing about the Elise is a lot of times the Lee Sin will go into gank mode, but the Elise can counter gank very, very effectively. She has that range advantage, and she doesn't need to go all in when she ganks, unlike the Lee Sin. So a lot of times, if Tian can ambush Lee Sin in a gank, then he can walk away with a clear 2 kills and 0 deaths.
That's right. We know how potent Tian's Elise is. You saw it at the start of the show with abusive topside presence. This game could be very different. It will be the Sion in the mid lane there for Doinb. So you might not get your just reward, but you still get Doinb on a Sion. Who knows what he builds this game? I'm curious as to what he takes in the rune set as well, considering we've seen a lot of phase, rush, Syndra. Will that be the case coming into Game 3? Maybe it doesn't matter, because GimGoon is once again on a carry.
We've seen this play happening over. We showed it in the pre-show where the combination of GimGoon and Tian, they just bully you over and over again.
Yeah.
Make sure you get ganked 5 times within the first 10 minutes, first 15 minutes. Keep your CS low, keep you out of the game. And Gangplank versus Aatrox is a matchup where that can happen very, very easily. Gangplank, not one of the strongest champions earlier on, doesn't have CC, not a lot of tools to threaten a tower dive, and Elise is a champion in that department. Can take aggro very, very well.
Yeah. Can
actually zone out and 1v1 the Lee Sin in specific scenarios as well. So this is going to be a matchup where a lot of eyes are going to be turned toward AmazingJ, and can he hold the front?
It has been about AmazingJ and GimGoon, surprisingly enough. The 2v2 of both teams has been moderately quiet, but coming up in the late game. In Game 3, we get the answer if FPX can bleed a series, and if someone can make them undefeated. But for now, it's all on the line here, as Royal never give up, and Fun plus Phoenix look to shed and destroy. Okay. Like I said, the Chinese crowd have absolutely gone bonkers over the past couple of weeks. That's what happens when the LPL is so fiercely competitive. And when your match of the week goes to all 3 games, RNG, the supporters have fired up as well. And not surprising enough, or rather it is, that the mid lane has taken Airy, and Doinb with the spellbook on site.
Just to get more poke damage earlier on, Doinb, the idea for him is using the spellbook, he can actually reach other lanes a little bit easier. He's not going to be too aggressive in the laning phase.
Very true.
What I want to pay close attention to is actually the start from Lee Sin. A no leash start from Lee Sin early on onto the red buff usually signals a level 2 kill somewhere. So I want to see if he follows up on that, or if it's just making sure that their bot lane can get a little bit more priority in lane.
Going straight over to the Wolves as well, so quick start there from Karsa. Infernal to be noted again, ladies and gentlemen, as Tian goes straight to the bottom lane. Interesting pathing, straight from red all the way down to Scuttle. It will be spotted out. But again, it's that intuitive pathing. It's that creative style from Tian.
This is just Tian preventing Karsa from a level 2 gank. Now, after the changes in the totem pools, the blue side jungle level 2 ganks have been very, very prominent in the LPL landscape. A lot of times we actually see RNG were the ones to pioneer this, where they have the support on a sweeper starting from level 1 and just clearing the path for a level 2 gank. It's very difficult if you actually push out. You think that, hey, maybe they're giving up priority, and if your bot lane just push out, it's very easy to punish in that situation. So we see so many times they have to play teams have to play suboptimally just to avoid the potential level 2 from Karsa.
Yeah. At least now they should know where Karsa is, or at least have some idea. Pings going on the friendly jungle as Doinb was either forced out or just wants to back early to get himself, I mean, what is he picking up? This early on, Tian's made an appearance in the bottom lane. There's no subtlety about this whatsoever, even after the cocoon landing.
It's a very good position that RNG actually held the wave in. Now, this is a very typical play in the LPL. It's called 3-3 versus 2-2. So you have 3 level 3s. They have all their abilities going up against 2 level 2s. The way you counteract that is you have to have the wave management on spot. You need to keep the wave outside of your tower So people cannot walk up to you underneath your own tower, and they did that very well on RNG's
Well,
side.
hang on, you want to see Doinb join the fight, but he's caught one in the mid lane. Flash is already trying to do fancy footwork. Two-man decimating smash, the flash, the repel.
Can he get it?
Tian, auto attack, no burn, isn't enough. Xiaohu has the flash as well, and that's not good. The decimating smash can't land. Sonic
goes back in.
Karsa, the scout of the week as well. Xiaohu getting chased by a zombie. Doinb cannot reach him, and that was RNG's jungler coming up clutch.
Woo! An absolute monster of a play. The start of it was actually very good for FPX and highlighted the fact about Elise on the counter gank against Lee Sin. Lee Sin has to follow up with his face. The Elise can counteract with range, and they get a beautiful decimating strike to start the actual play off. So a very good understanding of this. However, the problem actually came from the bot side. The bot side, they didn't get the full wave push in, so this is on the blue side, so you can actually still roam in this situation, and Alistar was able to zone out Crisp from the Raptor ramp, and Karsa goes in to finish off the play.
Scatter the week to get the other kill. Jungle and mid. Okay, now this time we're talking about it. As Tian walks up to the top side of the map, AmazingJ should have cleansed with the orange here. Tian looking to follow that up. Spiderling's doing damage as well. AmazingJ, why did you walk back in? Spiderling's in the burn. Not enough. Very precarious from the top laner of RNG.
That was incredibly risky. Did not expect that play from him. AmazingJ, of course, still has his teleport, but this is going to be a situation where Lisa needs to get up there. They're forcing Karsa to react to the play from the top side. You can't really leave a gangplank like that. No teleport. Knowing that Elise is still around the area, it's very risky.
He's just dominant in multiple lanes now for both RNG and FPX. The bottom lane's even, but mid over to Xiaohu by 10 CS, 15 rather. The top side was going well for GimGoon, as we just found an invade gone wrong here from Karsa. Blast Cone taken very smartly. Karsa in the middle of it all. Level 5 can't get anything to fight again. RNG roam up with their bottom lane. Decimating smash avoided from good. Scatter the week. 5 members here. Teleport burn by GimGoon, and FPX get nothing.
Really rough roll of the die right there. I think the big issue was that to start the fight off, Lee Sin was already 2 levels ahead.
Oh no, Doinb there, scatter the week. Xiaohu has unleashed power. Solo kill for the mid laner of RNG.
Unexpected kill right there. Doinb getting caught with his pants down. Not really aware of the fact that Xiaohu could just find a simple kill off the back. A little bit of tilt simping in, I feel.
I mean, he's already been forced out of lane once and now getting killed for it. 2 kills for the mid laner. And Xiaohu hit level 6 in the middle of that wave. You can see almost first item. Bax picks up the Sork shoes as well. Very severe kill threat now against Doinb, who is 1,100 gold behind at 6 minutes in the game.
He's going to have to find something in this bot lane. Sion already with his ultimate.
Tian's trying to be proactive as hell here. Infernal Dragon's up as well, so if RNG have priority across the map, this is going to be huge.
Good ping out by Xiaohu, so they managed to sniff out the play without having vision onto Doinb, and look at how far the bot side actually backs out.
Yeah. I mean, Tian keeps trying to make these ganks so Clement. He is behind by 30 CS. 30 CS against Karsa. Watch how Doinb just got destroyed here.
So Xiaohu actually hit level 6 in plain view, so Doinb definitely knew about the potential, but still walked up to the wave. I've got to say that's a very uncharacteristic mistake coming in from Doinb.
We wanted to see how he could recover while Doinb is trying to move across the map, but right now they're very skeptical about where Karsa is. You can see Doinb just walking up, making sure that there is no jungler on his way, while Karsa is actually towards the bottom side of the map, still farming up, still with a heavy advantage over Tian.
I love that roam from Chris, just to make sure that his jungler could get some reprieve, at least spend a little bit of time.
Is it happening again? Doinb does have ultimate. Crisp has come to save the day, but he might die instead. Cannon Barrage down, and Crisp has been ignited, hit in the face. Karsa with another. RNG, their early game is triumphing over FPX.
Just a brutal lane position being held by Syndra, holding the wave towards his own tower. His bot lane can roam, his jungle can go anywhere Karsa wants. And they punish it so well. It's really nice to see the coordination coming out between these two players.
The early game has so much bloodiness, like FPX and RNG, you more or less expect this game to be going the way it is, but not from FPX, who are now going to lose the Infernal Dragon on top of that. Has their throne been destroyed? No. But has their throne been tarnished? Well, still not yet. is definitely the right answer there, Clement. But this early game is accelerating, and Tian is trying to do exactly that for his laners. But all he can do is invade, put some pressure on to Karsa, and try and get a response.
FPX realize they only have one winning point on the map, so they need to cash out as hard as possible on it.
Doinb
I
has
don't
the
think
ultimate.
AmazingJ can get out of this.
Yeah, his ultimate popped immediately. Might not have to be used from Doinb. He does into the wall. AmazingJ drops down, but in the bottom lane, bigger response from RNG. Ming with a two-man knock-up into the belly. LWX flashes onto Uzi. Now underneath the turret as Chris drops on down. LWX was close, but Xiaohu comes down for 2 more kills. And this Syndra is absolutely bloody massive.
4-0 and 2 scoreline at this point. Not much that the FPX bot lane could have done. LWX, he played it as well as possible. Uzi gets aggro, he tags him with the chains of corruption, flashes forward, tries to go for the 1v1, but RNG, Xiaohu just too massive at this moment.
Let's look at the bright side for FPX. They get first turret, they get all the plating that comes with it as well, but this game is going so fast right now. 2k gold lead for RNG. They are unable to break open the bottom lane turret, and there's 2 platings left. So get the gold where you can, and that's exactly what this play was about.
We're going to see the play from FPX trying to cash out on their strong side of the map. AmazingJ probably didn't need that flash there, but overall, you know, he does what he has to do. But this bot lane, just look at how LWX plays it. He gets out of the situation and then goes all in for Uzi. Probably the only play he can make in this situation. Very well done on his part, but nothing he can do.
I'm not sure that piercing arrow landed it. Otherwise, Uzi would be dead.
Yeah.
I feel like he flashed out of that immediately. So very good mechanics still and reaction time from Uzi, as again we would expect. But LWX forcing the play, you can see how desperately they want to take this game 3, how desperately they want to turn things in their favor. With that Infernal, you got to add more gold to the top of the list because it's 10 minutes in, and that'll continue scaling. You have a Karsa on your composition, you have a Gangplank, but most of all, you have Xiaohu, who's already got 4 kills and his first item.
FPX, this team, if they can't convert on a mid-game dragon fight, I think it's very hard for them to come back. You look at Varus, you look at Elise, you're talking to yourself and going, you know what, these are not the best scaling options. However, what they do have is we've seen Doinb as a good driver, an experienced driver. He can find kills out of nowhere, and I think that's going to be the first step for FPX. Can they find those situations where Doinb can get out of lane?
It's been such a struggle. Karsa's coming in as well, but scat of the week. Doinb kicked on back and destroyed again. They're just making mincemeat of FPX's mid laner.
Well, Doinb does find his way out of lane, but he finds his way back to the fountain. So I guess that doesn't really help out in the situation. RNG, they're playing very well to their win conditions. I love the way that they're shutting down Doinb. It's exactly what you need to do. Take away FPX main initiator, and frankly, I don't think Crisp is the one that can find them those hero plays to come back in the fight.
No, it's super rough. The bottom side of the map struggling. Even the top side may have 30 CS in a disadvantage, but GimGoon just doesn't have enough at this point to carry. You want kills on the Aatrox. You want blood to be continued to be shed up in that top lane, while mid lane just keeps getting devastated. There's 3 kills on Lee Sin now. There's a bounty on both mid and jungle. The state of the game is RNG are keeping up this tempo, and FPX now trying to get the Rift Herald to bring something back in their favor, while turret plating is still up.
They're wasting a lot of time from RNG. I actually think GimGoon can, or yeah, he does get away from this play, but can Tian?
I mean, the issue is Sonic Wave does connect, and GimGoon brings no. Doinb not again. Unleashed Power is not available for Xiaohu, but Rift Herald continues. Karsa almost dragged back in. They go back.
It's going to be very hard to pick this action.
Xiaohu scatter the weak, but Smite secures it. FPX again. Tian might be caught out. Can he get it? No, he can't. Rift Herald's still sitting there, but Karsa has to flash away. The bottom lane's come on in. FPX, you need to pick up the Rift Herald as LWX roams on up and is eaten away. It's the Spawn who picks it up, and FPX, this is the runaway, but they can't get far. LWX the first to drop. Xiaohu over the wall. Chris takes the orb, goes golden, but scared dunk by Uzi. Scatter the Weak goes wide, and Doinb and GimGoon the only ones remaining. Rift Herald picked up at the cost of RNG, taking more lives.
Karsa just danced around that fight for way too long. Picks up Tian on the backside, and Xiaohu, with the lead he already had, absolutely capitalized big on the moment. Did you see that stun coming out of Crisp? He caught the double, he caught the pregnant frog in his tracks, and basically shut that entire fight down. It looked like a very good start of the situation, a 5v4 to get it off. Uzi was very far away from the play, but you could see Elise trying to track a path directly towards that eye of the Herald, gets caught out, and a beautiful scatter of the wing.
Yeah.
Gets the 2-piece, finds the geometric angle to lock down LWX on his way towards the tower. And frankly, this is not a Zhonya's that Chris should have used, because he was going to be held into position anyway.
That's true. While we're in that replay, Elder... keep thinking Elder. Infernal Dragon starts on up here. Now, Infernal goes over to FPX, almost contested by Karsa, but that's a big objective to come back. And again, we're kind of left with this point in the game, even though FPX have fallen so far behind in their lanes, that the gold is not too far apart. We've got very similar traits from both teams. However, in moving into the mid-game, we're going to have to watch out for Xiaohu, for Karsa, for the rest of RNG that have these power spikes coming a lot quicker than FPX.
That was a fight where GimGoon could have done a lot more with his with the lead that he had, but RNG danced around it way too well. Like, they never let GimGoon get the situation where they could have found the shy Q at Worlds. Oh, here goes
now trying to force it. Here comes Tarmcatch as well. Xiaohu almost takes down the AD carry. Can they get the mid lane? Yes. Big shutdown here for FPX, and I like what they're doing, forcing the objective. Oh my god, Ming, the flash forward, repel cancelled. Can Karsa get into the fight though? Can Ming survive? Yes. What a worth there from RNG.
Uzi's call here is to trade the towers at this point. He wants a solo goal for himself. Moving backwards into the mid lane, probably not a viable option. Great play by FPX nonetheless. They should be able to at least get this mid lane.
Oh, flash here from Tian though. No ultimate available for Ming. They can turn onto AmazingJ, but Doinb's tanking the turret. Moves out of range. AmazingJ moves into it, trying to defend this wave. And with barrels, he will be able to, but still good picks here from FPX.
He almost has the cannon barrage. That's what AmazingJ is waiting for. He wants that ultimate to come up, and then they can chase down every single member with Uzi on the killer instincts. But very good devour by Chris. He takes LWX out of that resonating strike range, and that play is not going to happen. Was very, very close.
It really was. AmazingJ comes to save the day, and Uzi even joins the fray as well. Into the mid lane, everyone trying to break open those outers. Teleport was used as a side note by Doinb, and that is not the spellbook teleport, because that is his core summoner.
FPX got game. They're within 300 gold of the situation, but RNG, they're not going to let the save side lane situation happen from game one.
Doinb shouldn't be here. The kick's available for Karsa. He's in range. Doinb doesn't have the ultimate as well. I don't know what happened with that visual bug, but we all knew Doinb was going to die anyway. RNG get a pick and the mid lane turret, always trading up.
It's just so hard to play from FPX's situation. They continuously have to go for the riskier and riskier play.
Yep.
And I actually feel like they should try to get GimGoon in onto more action.
Oh, hang on, there's kill threat from AmazingJ, has the world ender, and he's 2 levels above. So, still the Aatrox is big. The only reason we don't see him much is because AmazingJ has been playing very safe in this lane. But is still behind by about 50 CS. Keep that in the back of your mind, ladies and gentlemen, as we move into this mid-game.
FPX, they have so much engaged potential on this composition, and they're really creative with how they catch people out. Every time a side lane wave has been pushed out, I feel like FPX has done the better job in actually capitalizing on map control. You can see that play from Chris happening over and over again, taking stock at the gold situation. I think at least they have Tian back into the game with those kills he picked up. And Doinb still very far behind.
He is.
You have to be honest, Doinb still not making the impact and not being able to tank the front line.
Never did I think we wouldn't be relying on Doinb in a Game 3. We are relying on Tian, especially though, further to your point. But it could be GimGoon again. You know, LWX and Crisp, and you know, bringing back to what you just said, Crisp needs to be next to LWX every step of this fight. There is so much risk here from the members of RNG.
With the item build that Tian has been going for, he actually has a good opportunity to simply burst one of the carries. So we have to keep very close attention to him. It's not about the gold lead, it's actually about how they play the team fights and if they can find the crucial backline targets. Same thing for Karsa, actually. If he can find LWX, he has enough damage to actually blow him out.
Yep, almost lands a Sonic Wave. You would have seen that burst firsthand as they move out of the mid lane turret, but remember as well that for Tian, after he picks up that Morellonomicon, there's going to be a massive amount of burst on especially members like Xiaohu, who has the cleanse almost up and available. Thank you very much, says AmazingJ.
Well done on his end, but FPX are actually faster on the push situation.
They are. The top lane still crashing in. They're around mid lane for RNG. What is going to be the play because Tian's coming down?
don't think AmazingJ actually wants to stay here. He doesn't see his the enemies, and he is pinging out that red buff is most likely to be taken. But they do hold on to their towers nevertheless.
Tian expecting someone to come down, expecting some creative pathing from Karsa from blue towards that red buff. And Uzi's joined into the fray as well. Tian does have the smite, that's the difference, but we'll just leave this one.
Uzi did see the spider, the explosive spider from Tian, so we could see with his pings, he was very well aware that Elise was in that brush. A little bit unfortunate timing on Tian's end. But it was actually a good idea. Like, Uzi at the end did come out of that situation, and he did path the way that they expected him to.
Can't believe how close this game is, Clement. You know, you said don't look at the gold. Completely agree. Doesn't matter anyway. We've got an Infernal on each team. There's a Cloud Drake sitting there, which is just going to keep the status quo as it is. There's a Baron that is spawning in 40 seconds. That'll change everything. But RNG optimizing on this dragon. They're going to take it away. We'll see what comes up next. Another Infernal, please. No, it's going to be Cloud. All right. Bit wishy-washy, but I'm sure we'll get there.
The fights for RNG are more like knife fights. They have the ability to one-shot the enemy team with a lot of combinations. Syndra could probably do it by herself, to be honest. Karsa's also super fed. But on the other hand, FPX really only have Tian that can return the favor on their side. So I want to see, it's about how Doinb can kind of create space and find those flanks and openings for Tian to really come into the fight. I think GimGoon is going to be looking at pretty much the same deal here, but it's going to be very explosive. A lot of things can happen. There's a lot of burst damage from both teams at this end. It really is going to come down, I suspect, to the vision fights and the instant reactions from team members. The crowd control from GimGoon or LWX could decide it in a blink of an eye.
We know exactly how those vision fights go when it goes towards Ming, as we saw in the last game. That's what won it over around that dragon fight. And FPX, they're in a strange position because right now they have all their control wards out. They don't have any refreshers, but this is the time that RNG are clearing away from Baron. It's going to be super rough. In fact, they don't actually have any control wards out on the field. So pretty rough right now for the vision clearing of FPX. And RNG having priority in that river makes it so much more dangerous for them right now.
Yeah, FPX can't really venture out into their own jungle. It's very, very dangerous. Syndra could be hiding inside. They don't really have someone that can check. Not even Doinb can do it, but obviously he's in the bottom side. So they will have to relinquish control of this side of the jungle at some point. And the pressure will be building up. The pressure will be building up to the point where RNG can say, you know what? We've already created this much of a buffer zone. Let's turn it into a Baron. And that's when FPX, I feel like, has to make the move. They will be forced to.
I then look at that top ward. Look at that one control ward above Baron. Still hasn't been cleared out. I see that as an opening for FPX. I see that as a way that RNG can be flanked.
This is the toughest track for Doinb to actually maneuver. Like, he has to come in with the with his ultimate, go around that jungle side, and find his way into the backline somehow. A very difficult task. I want to see if FPX can do it.
Yep. Relying on Doinb's ultimate has not been a wise decision this game. Only has its Derek's gauge. Might be caught out again. Dodges away from Scatter the Weak and the Sonic Wave. Nicely done from Doinb. Mental still there for what it's worth.
Does have to expend, I believe, a ghost for that, but doesn't matter that much.
It's a spell book, Clement, you know?
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Spell book late game. Doesn't matter too much anymore. AmazingJ scared of GimGoon. Still a 2-level advantage, but they use this and the push in to start up the Baron. Blind here from FPX.
This is a play that we were talking about. Doinb has to come in at some point. Xiaohu has a perfect angle to stop anyone with Scatter the Weak.
Doinb find his mark. Cocoon doesn't land. Ming in for the pulverize. LWX locks him down there onto the Alistar, but the Baron. Tian gets kicked out. Karsa back in. Target selection now, but Ming is going to drop down for the Baron. AmazingJ has teleported in, but GimGoon's behind him, locking on down. Where's the orange? The flash instead. AmazingJ's out, and that is the Baron for RNG for their support.
Oh, that play was so sweet from Karsa.
Oh, yeah.
Picture perfect. Gets the lease back. Already has the Q1 planted on the Baron anyway. That's four thoughts.
That was insane from Karsa. I mean, Karsa's been playing out of his mind in some of these games as well. So it is a testament to how this jungler has been shaping up over the years in the LPL and how he has facilitated life in RNG. 3k gold lead now for them. They have the Baron buff, but but it still looks like they're on the defense from FPX as Doinb. I'm not sure about the 1v1.
He can't get away from this.
Can he survive? Sonic Wave's there, but Karsa doesn't need to chase anymore. Oh, hang on. Hang on. What happened there? Why was LWX in front of Uzi? They've just given over to kill. Momentum back into the swing. But
So
let's
we're
look at
not
this
gonna
first,
actually
apparently.
Get the play here. Just watch how RNG are zoning out the entire team. They already have Ming proactively in position. LWX can't really walk through that that situation.
Oh
and Karsa,
my God.
flash kick, Q2, Baron, absolutely no chance for FPX to take it.
That was so slick from Karsa. That is the least thing you want on your team, and RNG have got it. I hope we do see a replay of what happened to LWX, but the tempo going so fast, not sure we will. Doinb does defend the mid lane turret. Stoneplate now as well, so he's not dying as quickly.
Very key item pickup for him. Question is, I don't think he's actually going to be able to find a good stone plate where he has the 3-member proc for the extra armor and resistances. RNG should be pretty scattered throughout all of these fights. They have a lot of single points that can just kill members one-on-one, so they don't really have a reason to group up now.
Noticing Uzi's down the bottom lane, he walks over a ward. There's a Cloud Drake there that's being taken. In that 1-on-1, you could see that it was going to be GimGoon walking blind in the brush, which would have been the 2-on-1 instead. RNG now going to move towards this bottom side turret, and it means that for FPX, they have to rotate fast or give this up. Ladder is the option.
It's only a 4K difference between the two teams at the moment. Doinb could still find his way on those key carries, and remember Tian's item, Morella Nomicon, already done. Has a lot of burst potential.
But took a while to complete for Tian, as picks still the potential for RNG.
Karsa's fishing for it. They still don't have vision over the wall, however. Quite risky, to be honest, on RNG's side. But they managed to dance through all of those skill shots.
Annoying wave clear from FPX too. Skill shot lands this time, gets Tian in the backside, but RNG can't commit forward. Breaking the inhibitors here looks difficult for RNG though.
They don't really have a lot of range with Karsa. They're slowly chipping it in, and here comes
Ming
Ming.
comes in for the dive, Doinb not taking out. Stoneblade pops as well to the backline. LWX gets eaten up. Chris flashes away. GimGoon into ultimate form. Who's going to die first? Looks like it's Karsa from GimGoon. Low health bars though from FPX as the World End has been procced, and all the way back goes GimGoon. 4 versus 5, but with Baron buff, you make that a full 5.
I cannot believe that FPX actually did not lose a single member in that situation. It looked like a really good fight from the start of RNG. They got the triple man with the cannon barrage, and then the kickback with Lee Sin. But on the left side, lurking in the shadows, Tian with his Elise able to slow down the damage incoming from the composition. And we're actually going to go back for a replay that was happened very a long time ago.
Wow, okay.
Pretty straightforward.
So that's how it happened. Yeah, so Void Seeker onto LWX. Unfortunate there from the 80 carry. But Uzi capitalizing the way we know Uzi loves to. So 26 minutes into this game, we don't have a conclusion. Game 3, we have a 5k gold lead from RNG. But even so, the base is still there for FPX. They have the inhibitor turrets up. They even have inner, in the top lane as well. And Doinb is becoming more and more tankier. It's a Scion. It doesn't really matter that he's fallen behind early, because he is sure hell going to be unkillable late.
I want to see how Karsa uses the Dragon's Rage. What he could do is simply just kick out GimGoon, and I don't feel like there's a lot of follow-up that FPX can offer at this point. I would also want to see how Tian really positions around this fight. He's probably the most key member, actually, because he alone has the snipe potential on RNG carries at this point.
Yeah, that's right. FPX very aggressive in defending this turret though. Tian now joins the fight. Chris has been landed with the Sonic Wave. Cocoon misses. Ambitious to throw that out in the middle of the fight from Tian, but there is no positioning again from RNG. Look at where GimGoon is. This is going to force the back from AmazingJ.
Oh boy, this has to bring back so many bad memories for RNG. Don't you think that Aatrox looks a bit like Wonder? That's what FPX are hoping on at the point.
Well, I mean, for GimGoon, I was surprised when he picked up this champion in game number 3. He's blind picked the Gangplank. He's optimized towards a large range up in that top lane, but I don't think we've seen the Aatrox too many times this split.
FPX have been doing a wonderful job at just spreading the map out and making sure that RNG can't really find those 5v5 team fights. It's a very rare situation that RNG throughout the entire series has even gotten a successful 5v5. They're always pushing the side lanes. They're having them push out even in very risky situations just to force RNG to back at the moment, and they haven't really been punished that much for it. So it's really good coordination on FPX. I think this is exactly the way you want to play against a solid rock like RNG, who likes to group up, who likes to go for those 5v5s.
They've been putting Tian in the side, and Doinb now joined with him as well. Good split here from FPX. And RNG still looking for that said fight with vision control, meaning that FPX, as soon as they clear this, there would be some congestion, but they have to back it sometime, and FPX are able to push out the wave, delay this game even further. So interesting to see that FPX still waiting for that one moment at 29 minutes in.
I like how FPX are forcing the issue in the terrain that favors them. They're actually foregoing their own jungle and saying, you know what, we can group up in mid lane. We know that this fight is going to be very risky for RNG to take at this point. There's too many flank angles that we can throw at them, and honestly, we have the burst potential to pick out a lot of these members. Syndra's on the plate, AmazingJ is on the plate. So FPX has done this twice already in their games where they try to draw out RNG into the mid side.
Well, RNG tried to draw them to the top side because that's a big wave pushing on the inhibitor turret. And now into the pit, FPX know that RNG were doing Baron the flash there from GimGoon into the fray. Ming finds a 3-man knockup. LPX is still alive, however, with GimGoon right in the front. Doinb so tanky as well. Xiaohu looks for the burst but can't find it. That's scatter the week. Xiaohu again. This game on game 3. FPX are getting disintegrated. Doinb dropped as well. Tian is next. FPX, I think the Phoenix has just been destroyed.
And the Phoenix goes back into the incubator at this point.
Clement, they've done it. RNG have done it. FPX undefeated after coming through Invictus Gaming. FPX undefeated after finding Suning, but in 3 games against Royal Never Give Up, Fun plus Phoenix, finally the Phoenix rises, only to be burnt itself by Royal Never Give Up, who are right back on top.
RNG stand over the cinders of FPX. Invictus Gaming couldn't take them down, the World Champions couldn't take them down. They looked like they were flawless. They looked like they didn't have a single weakness on the team. But this time around, RNG show you how to take a deity down. I love what they did against Doinb. They shut him down so many times. They forced him onto champion picks that had less effectiveness, and they showed up massively in the team fights.
How many times do you see Ming with a 3-man knockup with a beautiful engage? Too many. Alistar is a champion that cannot go over, and the crowd are ecstatic.
So well played by both teams in the final team fighting moments. You could see that Doinb had his way into the back line. He found that 3-man he was looking for, but RNG had an even better response. Syndra cutting off the entire ramp, not allowing LWX to follow up onto his front line, and he gets a beautiful scatter of the week to knock down 3 members just as the Varus pops out of the Devourer.
Yeah.
That was perfect timing from Xiaohu to finish the fight.
So many times in that game, he hit that perfect timing window as well. Now RNG, if there were any doubters, it's been shown here against FPX where their strengths lie. The mid-game in Game 1 to the recovery in Game 2. They were never really at a deficit in that Game 2, but they've recovered mentally here in the series. And a 2-1 over the leading champs here at the moment.
Can I just say,
undefeated.
RNG are back. RNG are really back. They've been sleeping for a while. Pre-Chinese New Year, no Uzi. Nobody really thinks of them as a strong playoff team. They're sliding all the way beyond 10th place, but they came back with a roar after Chinese New Year. Now this is, they've in their recent 10 games, they've only dropped 2 of them, and taking this 3 of them, sorry, but taking this massive win over FPX really cements themselves once more as the kings of the league.
Also playing a lot around Xiaohu, a different style of RNG, and I think it was Doinb in there that said in our little face-to-face chat, they're playing around Uzi again, right? They're playing around Uzi. You look at that game and you go, yeah, playing a lot around Xiaohu.
Yeah.
Playing a lot around the mid lane of RNG.
This is a new level of cooperation between Xiaohu and Karsa. I think that's the thing that we were really quite impressed about. In the previous splits, I actually felt MLXG had better synergy between the two junglers, and a lot of times you felt like there was probably a little bit of a desynchronization. And at Worlds, they didn't really go for this strategy where they were trying to shut down the enemy mid laner. It was more about just the tanks, the utility picks, but this time it's different. This time, Karsa and Xiaohu, they're working like they are on the same mind.
That's right. It's a crushing blow for Fun plus Phoenix, but such a good delivery here from Royal Never Give Up. Clement, there is one thing before we finish up and before we go to our next series. FPX, are they going to playoffs?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Well, come on, that's
but
too easy.
RNG probably are too. IG V5 coming up right next. The action does not stop here in the LPL. We'll be right back.